Hello and welcome back to Johnson Branch Farm. I am so excited because I'm actually doing something that I have always wanted to do, and that is bring home a buck. We picked up this sweet little Nigerian dwarf buck. His name is Hershey, and he's got the prettiest moon spots on him. He is so cute. And I think he's going to make some beautiful babies with our girls. He's fine. They're just establishing dominance. Belle is telling him, I am the leader of the herd, and I'm in charge, and you're going to listen to me. Here, you want to hold this? With that? There you go. Also this week, I decided I needed to plant more garlic. I had quite a bit left over from this season, and after looking at what I planted last year and what I already planted this year, I decided I should go ahead and plant extra. I really want to grow a lot for our future plans for the farm, and I just want to make sure I have enough, so I went ahead and planted more. Our guides are back from their yearly hunting trip in Missouri. They go every year with family, and they have a great time. They brought home a buck and 2 does. So even though harvest season is over for the garden, we still work hard in the fall to put away our meat harvest for the year. Deer is a huge staple in our home. It is a very clean and lean meat. It's something that we don't have to grow and raise. It's plentiful in our area, and we are just really thankful that this is something that we are able to harvest and put away. We aren't really advanced in our butchering, I guess you would say, and how we put it away. We mainly just separate the back straps. We grind a lot and use in place of ground beef, and we do a few roasts. So it's not really anything fancy. We don't have all these different cuts, but it is good meat, and it's something that we rely on every year. So what you saw before was Aaron cleaning off all of the sinew and like the imperfections, I guess you would say, any ligaments or things that would kind of cause the meat to be tough and gamey. We run it through the meat grinder. We portion it off into back straps or roasts. The back straps are kind of like the steak of the deer. It's very tender, so we eat that separately. And then once we have everything cleaned up or ground, we go ahead and vacuum seal it, and it will last in the fridge. I don't know, it doesn't last more than a year around here. I literally just pulled out my last 2 packages of deer the day before we processed everything. One of my favorite things to do with deer meat that my family really loves to eat is to make jerky with it. I just slice it really thin, and then I follow the recipe by Steve Ranella in the Meat Eater cookbook. If you hunt or eat any sort of wild game, that cookbook is a great resource to have on hand. We'll place a link for it in the description box down below. Since we run our home completely on solar. I have to wait until we have a nice sunny day to use the dehydrator. And even then, I wasn't able to run this very long because we could see that it was starting to pull a lot of power, but we got it done and it was delicious. Another thing that I made this week was a bear roast, and I will go in depth with this in another video. It took me a few tries to get the hang of cooking it. I cook it low and slow like I would a chuck roast in a Dutch oven. This cooked at 350 for a few hours, but you have to make sure it is cooked all the way through, like you would a pork roast. You cannot eat bear undercooked. Okay, the last thing I want to highlight in this video is water kefir. I just started making this. My cousin gave us the grains. So this is probably my second, maybe third round with bottling it up. So I'm going to be making a ginger pineapple combination. I had some canned crushed pineapple that was given to me, and then I made like a ginger syrup and left the ginger chunks in it so they were candied. This actually turned out so delicious, but water kefir is, I mean, if you can maintain a sourdough starter, you can definitely maintain kefir grains or even kombucha. And to me, this is very similar to kombucha. It's just kind of a lighter drink, more crisp and refreshing, I think. So I'm just feeding the grains and putting the liquid into a bottle for its second ferment, which also flavors it. So if you're not familiar with it, the sugars from the fruit, you can use juice, you can use syrups, will ferment in these pressurized bottles, and that is what gives it the bubbly, fizzy texture, kind of like a soda would. Once I add everything to my jars, I'll take the liquid that the kefir grains are in, and I'll pour it through a strainer into those bottles, and then I'll go ahead and feed the grains. I use, for a quart jar, I use about a quarter cup of sugar. I'll do half of that brown sugar and then half of that white sugar. And then I'll melt that on the stovetop with some water so that the sugar gets nice and incorporated. And then once that cools, I'll add it to my jar with the kefir grains and top it off with some filtered water. And it will sit for another probably 2 to 3 days before I have to feed it again. And the bottles with the juice or the fruit, those will sit then 2 days, but really no longer than that, because the longer they sit, the more pressure builds up, and you'll see here in just a minute the mess that you will have on your hands. Like exploded. The first bottle exploded all over the kitchen. I had pineapple chunks on the wall, on the dehydrator, everywhere. I knew it was coming, so I was more careful opening the second one. But it's very good. It's extremely carbonated, which I guess is a good sign. The kefir grains are healthy and everything is doing what it should do. So we are gonna go enjoy a glass. Thank you so much for watching, and may the Lord bless and keep you. Until next time.